Rula, are you married?
Yes.
Is he happy?
Oh, that's a weird question. Usually they ask if I'm happy.
I knew when I really started to focus on my happiness.
Of happy wife, happy life. You hear it growing up and it conditions you to think as long as a woman is happy, all will be well.
Happy wife, happy life has probably destroyed more marriages than infidelity, abuse, and money problems. Now, y'all gotta follow me on this. We gotta talk about this for a second. This could probably help your marriage or save your marriage. It's going to be a tough message for the sisters, and it's going to be a tough message for the men, but y'all gotta hear me out to the very end.
Considered the greatest spitting. I tell them I'm Christ-like. They envision modern Christian. Tell them I'm nothing like check conditions of how I'm living. I preach Christ, we ain't fake delivering. Listen, candy man, soon as they. It's not about how much Bible chapter and verse you know. It's about how much Bible you willing to obey.
The phrase happy wife, happy life may have inadvertently contributed to more marriages ending than any other issue you probably can name. Now, this is not to negate or to minimize those other issues that may have caused divorces, but this one right here is at the tippy top. Watch, I'm about to break down some surveys that I found. Now, according to the Institute for Family Studies, ifstudies.org, nearly 70% of divorces are filed as no-fault divorce in America, and it's filed by women. Now, before some of y'all come on here and say that some of these women were suffering in silence and all the other stuff that y'all say, according to the Institute of Family Studies, ifstudies.org, most divorces are initiated by women, and most of the divorces are not for abuse, infidelity, or abandonment, but for minor intrinsic reasons like irreconcilable differences. They drifted apart, meaning they say they fell out of love, or a lack of emotional support. And ladies, please hear me out, because this might save you from a lot of guilt, a lot of pain, a lot of shame, and a whole bunch of other stuff, from ultimately making a poor decision if you're going through a tough time in your marriage. Now, listen, these feminist ideologies is destroying a lot of women. They are, because they can appeal to you as a woman. They know how to appeal to your emotion. These feminists, they have a superpower. They really do. And their superpower, y'all want to know what their superpower is? It's called weakness. Through weakness, feminists can mobilize their fragility, their tears. They gaslight people into thinking that they are being targeted. Feminists can often shift perspectives, leading others to believe that they are under attack, even when they may be the ones who's instigating the conflict. I hope y'all follow me.
Keep lying saying I'm threatening you, so I'm recording to protect myself. Oh, y'all better get this lady. You gonna
Feminists will have you believing that you have to play the victim. You see what I'm saying? In order for you to get your way in that particular moment, in that particular conflict, in your marriage, feminism have to make you feel like you're being targeted in order for you to win. Now watch this. Watch this. This frequently plays out in marriages, where the narrative can be manipulated to paint one partner as the aggressor, as the monster, as the abuser, as the neglector, while you play the victim, while you masking the underlying issues and tensions, and while you also play a part of what's going on. You're actually a part of the problem as well. But feminists make you believe that you have to point the blame on everybody else without taking any responsibility for yourself.
Come on with the pistol play, nigga. You ain't lying. Bump, bump. You ain't never lying. You ain't never lying.
Weakness is feminism superpower. Being the victim is the vicious weapon that feminists use these days. Now, I'm going to use Tia Mowry as an example. She filed for divorce, a no-fault divorce with her husband, Corey Hardrick. Now, he wasn't abusive. He wasn't physically abusive. He wasn't mentally abusive. By her own admission, he was a good dad, and her marriage was a success. Now, if you've been watching Tia Mowry over the last couple years, you know, she's been on numerous interviews, and now she have her own talk show, and all she is talking about is her divorce. All she is talking about is her relationship with her husband. Now, although she never throws her ex-husband under the bus, she always plays some type of victim. She always managed to make people see her as this type of victim. Now, the latest thing, she just said that, you know, she met Corey when she was 18. She was still a virgin, and I guess they didn't consummate their relationship till she was about 25, and he was her first in everything. So I don't know if she's insinuating that she didn't have enough experience, or she wanted to get out there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even gonna get into that. Now, I want to play the clip where this whole message on Tia Mowry derived from. Y'all watch this clip.
I knew when I really started to focus on my happiness. I feel like women, we tend to focus on everybody else's happiness, making sure that everybody else is okay. But at the end of the day, it's about self-love. And when you start to really work on yourself, love yourself, know your value, know your worth, and then all of a sudden there's this awakening. Wow. And it's not easy. It's a hard journey. But at the end of the day, I feel like it is so worth it.
Now, after watching that clip, I'm going to show y'all where the term happy wife, happy life, you know, contributed to the breakdown of Tia Mowry's marriage and ultimately led her to losing what seemingly to be a stable and well-rounded man, which was her ex-husband, Corey Hardrick. When she said,
but at the end of the day, I feel like it is so worth it.
What do you mean by that?
And that's the problem. How, at the end of the day, it is all worth it. Self-love. Yes, it's important, Tia. Focusing on making yourself happy. Yes, it is important. Working on your self-worth, working on valuing yourself, all that is important. However, you found yourself, but on the other side, you lost a part of you. You lost your family. You know you have self-love and you have self-worth and you got all that stuff now, but you destroyed your family. You destroyed another part of yourself, which is your family. And that's a loss. That's a loss. And that's the reason why I believe she's having a hard time going forward in a lot of stuff. She seemed to be well put together. She's on TikTok and all that stuff. She have all these kind of elaborate posts and all that stuff. But I'm going to tell you right now, she's masking her pain or her hurt very well. Tia also said that she had to work on herself and value herself, which insinuates that she was a part of the problem as well. Not only her ex-husband, a lot of stuff Tia was going through was internal with herself. Now watch this. We all know when mama isn't happy in the house. We know when the wife is mad, when the wife, you know, was feeling a type of way in the household, the whole household feel it. Listen, every married man can attest to it. And if you're an honest woman, you will attest that when you're mad, the whole household mad. And that's the downside of happy wife, happy life. No matter how hard Corey could have been trying to make Tia happy, the fact that she wasn't happy with herself played a major part in the reason why her marriage fell. It wasn't nothing he could ever done to make her happy. If she wasn't happy with herself, he couldn't have done nothing to help her achieve happiness if at the end of the day she couldn't make herself happy. So yes, I believe she had to go on this self-healing and you know, trying to love herself. I agree with that. but it shouldn't have been at the cost of your family. Especially when you said by your own admission that you had a dope husband. Now I'm about to show y'all something that a lot of people isn't saying about Tia. You know what I mean? Now, Tia divorcing her husband wasn't her so-called happiness. It wasn't her finding herself. It wasn't her finding her self-worth and all that stuff. You know, her divorcing her husband wasn't her gift. And she soon realized it became her curse. Because we seen when she was on there talking about how she went on all these dates and men is this and men is that. She's now in the curse. This is the curse. She's comparing all the men that she dates to her husband because she had a good husband. So she's always going to play back, well, Corey did this and Corey did that. And she's trying to find Corey in another man. And that's going to be her curse, unfortunately, for the rest of her life, because she had a seemingly, I'm gonna say seemingly, because I don't know, and by her own admission that her marriage was a success and all that stuff, she had a seemingly good man, and now she's going to look for him in other men, and she's not going to find it. Yes, she was supposed to focus on her self-care and self-love, but watch this, with the intentions of helping those around her get better as well, including her ex-husband, not segregate or sabotage, her family for her own self-worth or for her own self-love. The whole purpose of finding your worth is for other people to value you. The whole purpose of finding love is for other people to receive that love, not abandon them. You got healing. So you say Tia allegedly she got her healing, but she abandoned her family, and her so-called happiness is now misplaced. And here's the crazy thing. You can tell in a lot of her interviews that, she's not clearly happy. She's making the best of it. She's surviving, but it's clearly that she's not happy. She is simply doing a good job by masking her pain and her hurt. And unfortunately, we're going to probably see her break down sooner or later. She's going to hit a breaking point because at some point, it's going to become too much. And especially when them kids got older, once them kids get older and them kids don't need her around anymore, it's definitely going to hit her hard.
Ain't that right?
He ain't lying. I liken it to this. It's like getting saved, right? Then leaving your family because you are now saved. No, the goal is to get saved and go back and work on getting the rest of your family saved. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how hard-headed they are, no matter how challenging it may be. The whole goal is if you receive Christ, you don't abandon your family. You go back and start hitting the ground running, seeing who you can say. That's what she should have done with her husband. You don't get self-love. You don't start understanding your worth. You don't start doing all this good stuff, which is good and which is needed, only to abandon your family. And I believe that's the trick of the enemy. That's the trick of the devil that he's playing on women today. Find yourself, which you should. Love yourself, what you should. Abandon your husband, what you shouldn't.
But I don't want to hear that. I want Bible.
I got you, OG. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 1. The wise woman build her house, but the foolish pulls it down with her hands. This portion of scripture right here is a vivid distinction between the actions and outcome associated with wisdom and folly, particularly through the lens of a woman's influence in her home and her household. The phrase, the wise woman builds her house, insinuates that wisdom is constructive. This indicates that a wise woman actively works to building an environment of stability, love, and nourishing within her household. The metaphor of building implies thoughtful planning, effort, and care, highlighting the value of a woman's wisdom in creating a supportive and harmonious environment in her house with her husband and her children. Now, in contrast, the second part of the verse, but the foolish pulls it down with her hands, emphasize the destructive nature of the folly woman. Here, the foolish woman is depicted as someone whose careless or harmful actions undermine or destroys the foundation of her home. The ideal that she pulls it down with her hands suggests a deliberate or ignorant engagement in behaviors that leads to chaos or disarray, illustrating how one's choice can directly impact the well-being of her household, and the relationship dynamic between her and her husband and her and the children.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Now, this young lady I found on Instagram has one of the most powerful takes on happy wife, happy life. And I wish Tia would have saw this before she made the decision she made. But now she got to live with the consequences. Y'all check out this clip.
I never got the point of happy wife, happy life. You hear it growing up and it conditions you to think as long as a woman is happy, all will be well. And then you grow up in a generation where women strive to do exactly that, make sure that they are happy above all else, including above their partner. To live by happy wife, happy life is selfish. To live by happy spouse, happy house is love. And now it confuses me to think why a woman would put her happiness above anybody else when she asks for a leader, a provider, a protector, all in one, to be loyal and to serve according to her emotions and necessities. Seems like a big responsibility to take on a wife. It almost sounds like a child. To be taken care of, to be paid attention to be coddled and loved and never wanting to seem like she's giving too much, because then who are you to tell her anything? To have enough sexual experience to please her in the bed, but now you have to compete with all the men that have already left their mark in her, and it's not just one, and it's not just two, and it's not just three. And it doesn't stop there. You have to look her type, act her type, and most of the time she wants a little bit of hood and a little bit of holy. But if you act too holy, you're seen as weak, and if you act too hood, it comes across as you're too aggressive. She wants a man that will spoil her and treat her like a princess, to be called queen but have no class when the words out her mouth are disrespectful as soon as it doesn't go her way. But you must be patient and you must be graceful with her. And the irony of all that I say about this is that she wants to come as she is. It sounds like she's looking for the love of God in men.
The term happy wife, happy life have single-handedly, in my honest opinion, destroyed more families than adultery, than abuse, than money problems, and all that stuff, according to statistics of the no-fault divorce. There's a divorce for abuse. There's a divorce for infidelity, which women can make out like a bandit using those both forms of divorce. But instead, more women divorce with the no-fault divorce than anything. That's why I say the happy wife, happy life term has destroyed more families than anything. Now, if you're on your healing journey, your self-love journey, understanding your value and your worth journey, and all the rest, don't abandon your family in the process. They need you the most. When you get healed, it is your job to go back and heal them. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, there's going to probably be some pushback. But at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it. I am a product of that. Once upon a time ago, when me and my wife went through some family problems and we separated for 2 years. And by the grace of God, during that process, she came back and realized the folly of her ways, and I realized the folly of my ways. We came and we got counseling together, and here we are. And that happened 15 years ago, and here we are. So I'm a testimony that I know it can work, and if it worked for me, it can work for you, man. I thank y'all for rocking out with me. It's your boy St. Reese. This is the Gutta And Saved podcast, man. Make sure you hop down in the description area. Check out our merch store, gasmerch.com. It's going to be pinned down in the description area. And if God willing, I'll holler at y'all on the flip. Peace.
considered the greatest spitting. I tell them I'm Christ-like, they envision modern Christian. Tell them I'm nothing like, check conditions of how I'm living. I preach Christ, we ain't fake delivering. Listen, Candyman, soon as they. It's not about how much Bible chapter and verse you know. It's about how much Bible you willing to obey.